What's up? What's good? Matt Clark here at the new Matt Clark. How are each and every one of you doing on this amazing Wednesday? I'm doing great. My girl's doing great. My family's doing great. Hope each and every one of you are doing great. And I hope you're just having a good week. If you could please hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that bell notification button so you get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, helps. You know the spiel. I'm fucking stoned. Anyways. What is up? How's everybody doing? And how's your week going, man? Let me know. What's the topic of conversation? And how you been? Because it's been a long time since we've done this. I feel like it's been about 3 weeks. And I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be talking to y'all. And so Northern Pike, what's up? John Money, what's up? Mitch, what's up, man? Yeah, I'm not gonna get into all that. I'm not like a military analyst, so Jeffrey Lennox, what's up? I just want to talk, man. No, I know a little bit about it, but you know, I just don't really want to take a position either way, and I don't want to talk about it. Why would you punch Eddie out of the Toronto prison YouTuber? What does that mean? I don't understand what that means. What center had the worst food? I'd say the worst food, definitely 100%, is the super jails. 100%. Sam G, what up, man? No, not really a haircut. My hair is just grown back from when I buzzed it, but I shaved. I don't like not having a beard, but every once in a while you got to trim it up and start from scratch. Nick, man, what's going on? I know that he's talking about Canadian jail war stories, but what is he talking about? It looks like it says, why would you punch Eddie out, the Toronto prison YouTuber? I don't know what that means. Hey, buddy, love the content. Keep it up from Kingston, Ontario. You already know, Cameron. Shout out to you. Just another day, you know what I mean? I feel you on that. But I tried to look at days a little bit more positively than that. Some crazy stuff happened at my work. Some dude got his arm literally like snapped, which was crazy. It literally just pulled his arm right apart. The flesh didn't break, but the arm just right apart, man. It's crazy to see. Greg Spitzer, man, appreciate that. Colby Montgomery, Edmonton, Alberta. Yeah, caught between machines, man. Excavators, big machines. Boss, man, you already know that, man. I appreciate you. 27 views, 4 likes. That's what I'm saying. Get those likes up. People, go up to the top and just hit that like button. It's not hard to do, and it really helps the channel. I appreciate you. Partner just got transferred to Workworth. Anything you can say about this place, good or bad? So far, he doesn't mind it. See, I've never personally done time in Workworth, but I know that Workworth is kind of like the last standing old school penitentiary in Ontario, and I'm sure he's not doing horrible time. It's a medium. So, of course, you're going to have violence there, but it's also not going to be like the craziest place you're going to do time. If you just want to do time, you could do it. Suron 6. What is that? Suron 6. What's good, brother? Hope all is well with you too, man. I saw a truck run over a lady's leg one time. Crazy. Yeah. Hold on. Did you say, I think I know the question. I don't know. But that's not like, I know plenty of people that have done time in Workworth. I know what Workworth is like. It is an old school penitentiary, but just recently, since like 2000 whatever 13, has it become a population jail again. Basically, there was a long stretch of time where you could not go from Workworth to J Unit, and that's a fact. My whole first two bits, if you got in a scrap in Workworth or got in a beef and had to go to Max, you're going to KP. It's different than that now because of politics and the closure of Kingston Penitentiary and Millhaven Penitentiary switching over, and Collins Bay Max J Unit going there, and the whole dynamics of the system changed. But I did 3 federal sentences and many, many, many years across this province. So I can speak on any of it. But like I said before I ever made a comment about it, I'm not a professional on Workworth. I never did time there, but I can give you a rough idea of what it's like to do time there. I did time in Joyceville 2006, 2007, 2008, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. And Joyceville was a rougher prison than Workworth was. So I have an idea of what it would be like to be in Workworth, which I'm not saying it's soft. That's not what my opinion is. I'm just saying it's a penitentiary, and it's a medium penitentiary. So you can get it like any medium penitentiary. But because of how Ontario politics are now, gangs are all divided into different prisons, and it's just the way it is. I'm halfway now. Hold on. Sorry, I've missed a lot of this stuff. Steve, what up, man? Appreciate you, brother. Get out of here. My cat's being super annoying. Bro, I have a question I was saving for next live and I can't remember it. Whoa, dude, I didn't have it at Workworth. Used to be a sex offender joint way back. Did you ever spend any time in halfway houses? Yes, I did. I spent time in Crossroads halfway house and a short period of time in Bunton Lodge. Not any crazy amount of time. And I did time in Stonehenge. Exactly. Good old Jerkworth. But it's not, it has changed now. It's not like that now, you know? It really isn't. But every medium penitentiary in Ontario now has sex offenders. That's a fact. It's just they're hidden. Hello, Matt Clerk. Good to see what's new. Do you have any new plans coming up? Any new projects that you're working on? Honestly, brother, I've been so busy that I've just been trying to keep up with the content. And it's important to me to have the channel and talk to you guys and stuff like that. It helps me in my own recovery as well. And hopefully there'll be a day where I don't have to work so much in order to pay my bills. And then we'll be all right. And I'll be able to focus so much more attention on the channel. But I definitely know that I'm going to be focusing more attention on it in the near future for sure. Light skin. Can I speak patois? I'm not going to. Cameron Godfrey. I'm wondering how things have changed since 2011. If you don't know, that is okay. My dad did 4 years in Millhaven. His next door neighbor got raped. He was 19 years at the time. My dad was in his early 40s. His was gone from 2009 to 2011. So is that when he did the time? So he wouldn't have been in J Unit, though. There's no way. He would have been on a different range for sure. I remember last 3 craziest people inside, but the one on the bad, did anyone F with them? But the one on the bad? What? Sorry, Steve. I don't know what the question means. Can you rephrase it? I remember your last 3 craziest people inside, but the one on... I don't understand the question. Sorry. How do they hide sex offenders? Because There was a point in time where everybody did paperwork parties. As soon as you walked in, they gave you a copy of your whole criminal history, okay? But because of paperwork parties and people getting hurt, when they integrated the system, they stopped giving out those print-ups. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't get those print-ups if you ask for it. And any solid con is going to ask for it and have that paperwork. But a lot of these guys, because the rules have changed so much, and if you start doing paperwork parties, they're just going to ship you to max. It's become a lot more lenient throughout the population for people to be there and not have to do a paperwork party, because you can't really ask everybody what they're in for. You're going to spend all day, every day stabbing people. So that's how they integrated the system. And now it's at a point where you just don't know. You'd have to specifically ask somebody, yo, I want to see your paperwork. They're going to have to get their paperwork. You understand? It gives them time to cut out. Did you ever spend time in the hole? For sure. I spent lots of time in the hole, and it definitely affected me mentally, you know. There are times where I'd be talking to myself, having full conversations with myself. That just happens when you're locked away alone for extended periods of time. And I did many extended periods of time in segregation. How do the gangs actually operate and coexist when you're in high security? Do the street gangs get along? Now, I've never been in max, so I can't say for sure how they organize and get and coexist like that. But I'd say in the mediums, for sure, they separate people, man. They do. If you're from certain neighborhoods or from repping certain gangs, you're going to be in certain jails. It's just a fact. Sorry, my bad. He did from 2008 to 2011, but he did say they had meds in the food to try and stop sexual assault, but things still happen. Okay, so that's the rumor that they put saltpeter in the coffee, and maybe that was like long time ago to suppress men, you know what I mean? But I'm not saying that there's no homosexuality happening. I'm just saying rape not happening. And I know it's YouTube and they're going to demonetize me for saying that, but if you're in general population, it's not happening. I don't know what goes on in protective custody, but you'll get poked up for that 100%. Greg Spitzer, you need to hook up with a book publisher to share your knowledge of jails and stories. I have a story to tell. I have my own story to tell, you know. With a fake handgun, it was in the paper as well in Kingston. He originally got 5 years, but with good time got down to 3 years. I'm not sure where he would be held of, you know, that would actually be cool. I don't understand that either. Sorry. Not sure if you know, but female prison is worse than male prison. No, it's not worse. It's different. Male prisons are way more violent. That is a fact. Like anytime you put a bunch of men, grown men, in a confined area for extended periods of time, you are going to have violence. It's unavoidable. It's just how extreme is that violence? Is it going to be fist fights? Is it going to be guys smacking each other with bocce balls? Is it going to be baseball bats? Is it going to be jumpings? And then is it going to go hardcore where people are actually trying to take each other out? I find in the lower security jails, if there's violence, it's typically lower level violence. If somebody gets poked up, it's probably going to be like $150. And if somebody gets beat up, it's going to be like a quick thing. Guys are going to cut away real quick. But if you're in max, people are going to try to take your life if they're coming for you. You know what I mean? Not sure. I hope you are in the seg lawsuit. I'm in the federal one, but I've never heard anything about it. Nobody's ever contacted me, nothing. Mike Riches used to put bets on how long people would last once the gates open and the paperwork was needed. Exactly. And there's a lot of times, like I'm telling you, Canteen Day is the funniest day. You literally be about to go for lunch or dinner or after dinner, be freed up to go out to yard, and you'll see the van literally driving from unit to unit in Fembrook, and guys cracking out because they can't pay their debts. It's hilarious. And there's like a lot of guys that do that every single time. What was the absolute longest you've seen someone sit or known to sit in provincial? Oh, man, I've seen certain dudes that have sit in provincial for almost a decade. I knew one guy 7 years was in the Toronto system. There's a lot of guys that are in the system that long and they're not actually even on criminal charges. They're just on immigration. I knew a guy, I was just with a guy that did so many years of a federal sentence, and he was supposed to go back to Jamaica, but Jamaica didn't want him. So he had no passport. So he's like in limbo, like he has nowhere to go. He has no country that's willing to accept him. And he was angry and a violent person. And I understand why, because you're literally being abandoned by your own country, which is crazy. If you're in the building, go up and hit that like button. 37 of you, 18 likes. Come on, get the like up there. It helps the channel. Let's do this. No, I never spent time in the East. When I lived out west, I was young. I was a child. I always wondered what it was like when there's a murder on the outside and the guy who did the murder goes to prison, and the prison he goes to has people in it that were friends with the guy he killed. Well, I know a story of a dude that stabbed somebody in Joyceville, and when he went to Max, he was bragging about doing this stabbing and ended up getting hurt really bad because the guy's homies were all on his block, and they told him to come out to yard. They all jumped him, smashed his head in with these big blocks of ice. He got hurt really, really bad. Cameron, it would depend on who you are as a person, because at that time there was J Unit in Millhaven, there was reception in Millhaven, and then there was a couple like super protective custody ranges. So I don't know where he was. If he was, so I mean, if someone is doing 3 years in Millhaven on robbery and assault charges, would you be in the more dangerous part of the prison or be locked down, or would you be in the lower area like a camp? Now, Millhaven property actually has Bath on the same property. It's a different prison, but it is Bath, and it is a low medium security penitentiary. So maybe he was in Bath saying he was in Millhaven because he didn't want to say he was in Bath. That's possible. Matt, now that you are where you are in life, have you ever looked back to dissect your life and time spent behind bars? And do you ever feel like it was time wasted? I definitely feel like it was time wasted, because I feel like I lost a lot of opportunities in my life because of jail. But I also think it was a learning experience. I feel like it's impossible to go through 17 years of time and not learn some things about not only yourself, but what you're capable of, who you are as a man. You can't avoid it in that amount of time. So I would definitely say that I'm more of a man now, and I'm definitely more confident in who I am and my abilities to defend my family, my girl, and everything that matters to me. And I just think when you go through so many dark experiences, it becomes regular. So if you're ever put into those circumstances, you'll be more prepared to handle it, if that makes any sense. I assume it's on site, or do you keep them away from each other? Boss man, hold on. I always wonder what it's like. Oh no, it depends on if it knows, if you know. You know what I'm saying? I scrapped a guy who killed a friend of mine's son. He had no idea who I was. I just found out who he was and I fought him. I couldn't do time there and not do that because the guy was my real friend. Paul Bulos, what's up, man? Thank you very much. What's up, newborn assassin? What do you say, man? Booze is legal. Don't judge. I don't know what the comment is, man. Booze is legal, and I don't judge. Northside YEG. Yes, I do, mother. 100%. Brendan, I will be 40 this year. When CSC classifies a prison as low medium or high medium, does that affect the inmate's ability to cascade down to a minimum? So, really, a medium is a medium is a medium. The low medium, high medium classification is really just a scam on behalf of the system to trick you into believe that you're getting something when you're not. Yes, sure. You may be going to a prison that is a little bit more comfortable for you, but it's actually not truly a drop in security because medium is 16 to 26. That is medium security classification. So whether you're in Joyceville, which is you're going to be closer to a 25, or you're in somewhere like Fembrook, which you're going to be closer to like a 20 or a 21 probably, you're still in a medium. It looks exactly the same on your paperwork. But if you can go from a high medium to a low medium, then you definitely will have a better chance getting to camp. If you're somebody who can get to camp, I was never able to. Northside YEG, I know you're joking with me. I'm these times who doesn't need a break once in a while. Exactly, man. Exactly. Paul Harris, what's up, man? Appreciate you. Can an inmate run a hustle in prison without being associated with a gang? And if so, how? You definitely can, for sure. Ontario prisons aren't like 100% like gang run like that. Maybe if you're in like the max, but like people are very like segregated amongst each other, if that makes sense. So it's not like racially based. It's more like culturally based segregation, which can look a lot like racial segregation, although it's not. You have a lot of intersectionality. You know what I mean? Newborn assassin, you ever struggle trying to change for positive? The temptation of living that life is always in my shoulder. I'm trying to do good, but the easy route is always on my mind. I think it takes time of being legit and starting to actually accumulate things that you don't have to worry about losing. You know, you get a lot more comfortable in your day to day and you're able to just relax and chill. And I think that in itself is worth it for me. I don't need to be like multimillionaire. I don't need to be that guy. I'm just happy being comfortable. You know what I mean? Lloyd Daly. I know, but I'm not a young guy. I'm not like a 20-year-old. Is there any native Indian gangs in Ontario prisons? I'm sure there is, for sure, especially if you go further north. 100%. If you're in like Thunder Bay or Sudbury, any places like that, definitely there'll be native gangs. 100%. Is there any native Indian gangs? The same question. Oh, it's the same question. Hold on. Steve Gates. You're missing my question. Scroll up. Sorry, Steve. Hold on. I was talking about the last vid. Craziest people you did time with on the bag for hours raging. Oh, no. 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 This is the thing. He's probably not the toughest guy in the whole joint, right? But he's definitely one of the craziest guys in the whole joint. So with guys like that, even if you can smash because they're uncoordinated and they're just a little bit offside, and there's a lot of real talented fighters in prison, but this is the kind of guy that if you were to punch him out, like you can't live with them after. You know, you'd be in danger. So no, a lot of people don't mess with him because he just looks nuts. And he's not a young guy. He's probably like 50 years old. I'm trying to do good, but I always end up with the wrong crowd no matter what. I know what you're saying, brother, but as soon as somebody gives you that vibe that they're not, listen, the people you're around should be able to elevate you. If they're not elevating you or putting you in a better position in your life, and all they do is risk your freedom, your recovery, sobriety, whatever it is that's at risk, then that's not your friend. You understand what I'm saying? If somebody doesn't care about your well-being or your best case for you, then you don't need to be around that person, and you need to put yourself around people that are not only doing positive things for themselves, but you see improving in their life. And if you hang around with people like that, you can't help but grow. You know what I mean? That's a fact. And that's a fact too, Nick. If I know a lot of guys over the years that I did time with that, sure, you could punch them out easily. But if you ever saw them on the street or you ever cross paths with them in prison again, you're not going to have a chance to punch them out, because before you even realize that they're there, they're going to be poking you up. It just is what it is. And if you see them in the street, they're going to slap you down. Thanks, bro. I hear you. Your peace of mind. You already know, my brother. I like that. How common is abuse by COs in the pen? It's not as common in the lower security pens, but any prison there can be abuse. You know, if you target officers in any way, then they're going to abuse you. I'll tell you a story. A cop died. I remember a CO died one time, and we were locked up one night, and they were doing their walks. And I told them, like, why are we locked up? This is BS. Like, the CO didn't die here. Like, they didn't die at work. If a doctor died and it wasn't on the job, he didn't fall down into his surgery table, you wouldn't shut down the hospital, right? So why is the jail shut down? Because some officer died. And at the end of the day, it was insensitive of me, but I was locked up, and you have a different attitude when you're locked up like that. And when they were doing their walk, when they were walking through, I told them, nobody cares about your dead cop or friend. Let us out. And man, they literally spent like months trying to screw me over. Like they'd pull me down into back rooms and try to threaten me. I'm telling you, it was hilarious. But because I'm me, I just don't give a damn about none of that shit. It didn't have any effect on me. Now, would you ever do a video on Bath Institution? Is it a PC prison? I wouldn't say it's a PC prison, but I'd say it's a prison with a whole lot of PCs in it. And if you're not a PC, good luck getting there. Hold on. This shit's going too fast, eh? Vanessa Marion, really enjoy your channel. Always entertaining and informative. Keep up the good work. Sending good vibes. You already know. What is the scariest time you ever experienced in prison? The scariest time I ever experienced in prison, I would say was a riot. 100%. Being in a real riot where you read the riot act, where after they read the riot act, they legally have the right to take your life. It's a different vibe. Shooting concussion grenades at all day long down the block, breathing in pepper spray. And there's a lot of dudes on the range that are just going off, and they're in that, like, who cares? Let's ride out till we kind of die attitude. And you have to have some cooler heads kind of prevail when you realize that you're really fighting for no reason. Yeah, I'd say the riot, man. And not because I was scared of inmates. It's just a circumstance where the officers have legal right to take your life, and you are fish in a barrel. You understand what I'm saying? So you are moving every minute thinking this could possibly be the end for you. Goes both ways. I hear you. Right? You ever do? Head up, grind up. Whoever is on here dealing with addiction. If you slip, tomorrow's another day. That's exactly it. At the end of the day, who cares? Cares about a chip, about a certain amount of sobriety. It doesn't matter. What matters is that every day you go into the next day planning to be the best you. And that's what matters. A lot of people get hung up on these times, and then when they fail, they beat the crap out of themselves. And it's not worth it. It's not. Just get up the next day and start over. Who cares about the time? You have to be honest with anybody. Just start over. Was I ever a cleaner? Yes, I've been a cleaner many times. Joanne, what's up? How are you? Do guards set up inmates fights for fun or betting? I've never personally seen it, but I'm sure it happens. I've never had any guard make me fight somebody for money, but who knows? I guess it's possible. P. Roy. I read a story not long ago about a guy who testified against his co-accused and still got found guilty of murder. What happens to people who testify and still get life? They spend their whole life in super duper 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 PC. And that's a fact. Lily Bluebell, thank you for the 20 piece. I appreciate that. They'll literally spend the rest of their life in super protective custody. And sometimes they'll try to slide back into the population and be these people. I remember there was a guy that I was in the Ville with, and this guy acted like he was this solid old convict. He was the most hardcore old guy that was going on. And it turns out the guy was a DSO. A DSO, not just an SO, a DSO. That's crazy. Doing fantastic. Hope everyone is having a great week. And if not, hope you all have a better rest of it. You already know. I hope you do too there, Joanne. How do you walk the line not being a punk, but not right out being aggressive and being more heat down on yourself? So I think at the end of the day, it's just about being yourself. I think the problem is because you don't fight doesn't necessarily make you a punk. If you tell people that's not who I am, I'm not this crazy scrapper who wants to stab a bunch of people, and then when violence comes your way, you don't fight, that doesn't make you a punk. What makes you a punk is when you act a certain way, and then when that stuff comes back on you, you run from it. That's a punk. Being soft in a punk is different, I think a punk is super derogatory, and I think being non-aggressive or non-violent is just a trait that a lot of people have. And if every single person in this world was violent, how would we all be? How crap would life be? Think about that. You have to have nice people, kind people, people that don't want to cut you or stab you or hurt people. You need those kind of people. So I think that if you carry yourself in a certain way, people will see that and they'll respect you for being yourself. And sure, if you're in maximum security, you don't want to let people slap you around. But chances are you're in maximum security. So you're probably not going to be letting people slap you around. If you're the kind of guy that's doing federal time and somebody could just walk up and bare hand bitch slap rob you and take your commissary, you're probably going to be in bath, whether you signed into PC or not. I feel you on that, Joanne. 100%. What is my Otis number? I know my Otis number by heart, but why would I give you my Otis number? Drew, do people who get transferred out of the province get a bad reception when they land? I think in most cases, yes, but not all the time. You know what I mean? Your Otis number is your provincial number. And then your FPS number is your federal number. And I know both of mine by heart still to this day. But it's coffee in my cup. I'm on here for like 2 more minutes, guys. Joanne, the winter maintenance guys came by the condo today and put a ton of salt down in preparation for a storm tonight. I thought we were done with this stuff. I thought we were done with this crap too. Matt, how about some encouraging words for those challenged with addiction, leading towards addiction in prisons? All right. I would say that addiction is unique for everybody, and you're never going to change until you recognize your own specific needs and addictions and problems and vices. And I think the most important thing to do is to work every day to be the best person that you can be and to treat people the way that you want to be treated, and try your best to stay away from anybody that would promote you to do anything harmful for yourself, like using drugs or doing crime after you've gotten yourself out of that behavior by either going to rehab or going to prison or whatever it is. And remember that anybody who wants to see you suffer, anybody who promotes you doing anything that you could lose your life, that you could lose your freedom, and doesn't care about that, that's not your friend. Of course, it can feel like they're your friend. It can feel amazing hanging around with them. You could be dogs doing everything together. And as soon as you drop dead, they're going through your pocket and they're stepping over you and not even trying to help you. You understand what I'm saying? So think about yourself. I used to have this weird loyalty to people I shouldn't have had that kind of loyalty to. Not because loyalty is a bad thing, but why was I being loyal to a bunch of drug addicts over my family? Why was I choosing to be more available and helpful and there for my friends and not my family? I just think when you're in addiction, your mind changes. Your behavioral patterns change. You get into these weird day-to-days that you have to do to survive, to accumulate what you need to get through. And I think you kind of lose sight of family, friends, love, anything that's important because you prioritize drugs over everything else. So, you know, a lot of people will say like a crackhead is a piece of shit or a whatever, but it's not necessarily true. Sure, what they're doing is a piece of move, but they've decided that they need to feed their number one priority, which is their addiction. Now, if you have kids and your number one priority is your kids and you can't feed your kids, you're going to do whatever it is you can do to feed them. Well, that is the mindset of an addict, except you're not feeding a kid, you're feeding your addiction. And is that important? Is that important? As important as having a kid is feeding your addiction. Because if you go one day without it, you're going to be sick and you're going to suffer and it's going to be horrible. So you put that much emphasis on accommodating yourself and accomplishing what you need to. So as an addict, if you're able to flip, people say that addicts don't have willpower, but actually they have a ton of willpower. If you're able to use that same motivation towards getting a job or just being a good person and focus that much energy, time, and everything into it, you'd be surprised at what you can accomplish. And that is what it is. And I hope anybody who is suffering from addiction or going in and out of jail, has experienced trauma, abuse, all that kind of stuff, just remember that you are still here. And as long as you're here, you can turn it around and you can make something for yourself where you can at least enjoy life, even in its simplest form. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not trying to be rich. I'm not trying to live this extravagant lifestyle. I already went through that, spending thousands of dollars frivolously. I did that already. Now I'm trying to just chill. I'm trying to just be content with the simple things. Learning to not take the small things for granted that you don't realize you do every single day unless you're locked up. There's a lot of small little things that you realize how important and how much they fill you with joy on a day-to-day. And you pick those things up when you're doing your time. You think about these kind of things and they kind of clue into you as you're going through. And sometimes you're able to keep those memories. But a lot of the time when you're going through addiction and things like that, it's really hard to forget the bad things and really easy to forget the good things. Love each and every one of you. The new Matt Clark. Congratulations, Ryu. Thank you for the support.